communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. These are words that are often associated with Saline High School. Yet, at the core, a problem has arisen. Over the past year, Saline has been under fire in the news for multiple racist incidents. From Snapchat screenshots to racist remarks in meetings, racism has shown its prominence in this community, cultivating many different reactions within Saline High School students and staff.
There was some surprise, right? I think there was some shock. And then there were, some little pieces too where it wasn't surprising, not necessarily because of Saline, but I think the types of things that we're seeing here are not unique to this area.
We see different intersections of things, oftentimes race being part of them, and the withholding of historical truth from students, and that's a pretty dangerous slope to go on, to not equip students with the truth about history.
When we move forward, how can you use privilege that you might have for good? Okay. Awesome. Cole, you want in on that one right now?
I think some of the feelings I've had, right? I think from what I've heard, right, there's been some shock, some surprise, right? Some individuals, depending on their side of their experience, there's some hurt there, and maybe some shame, right? I think for some that these incidents don't align with how they view themselves or how we view our district, and so these events really kind of motivated students in particular to kind of try to change that narrative. And so there have been some clubs and initiatives and things that have come out of this to really kind of tell our own story, right, and not let it be told for us.
Learning about, talking about race is critical for all students and educators as well. Be able to have those conversations. Each community has unique challenges and differences.
Saline has developed a safe space for these uncomfortable conversations in its race and ethnicity class.
It's a class where we can really support students in having conversations focused on a curriculum, so there's content that we're covering. So when students leave here, right, they can integrate into the world.
There's so many reasons why I think this topic is critically important, and that's actually, frankly, one of the reasons that I love teaching the class so much, is there's just always something going on with regard to race.
Difficult issues and inducing trauma with students, and it's a fine line, it's a challenge. But
I think it's a great class. I think, again, as we talk about, right, having these conversations and helping people feel more comfortable with talking about race or inequities, a class is a safe space to do that. And I think Mr. Allman does a really great job of supporting students as they have these difficult conversations. He's really developed a culture in there, I think, where students feel comfortable taking risks. And so I think not only are we at the high school lucky to have him in that class, but I think as a district as well, because it can be quite the model for what we would like, discussions to be like moving forward and how to get students to think critically.
As a white male heterosexual educator in this space, I recognize certain power and privilege that I've had my entire life, and how I can use that privilege in a way for good. Particularly as a white male, working in a DEI space, diversity, equity, inclusion space. I know certain strengths and weaknesses I have. I know certain ways that I can be very effective in my work, and I also know there's ways as a white male in particular that I just need to shut up and listen. And I try to be very attuned to that. I always be willing to work with racial humility, always be willing to learn, listen to grow. I know that there's certain groups that I can be very effective speaking to, in particular other white males.
When it comes to what I would like students to get out of the race and ethnicity class at Saline High School, is I'd like them to develop an appreciation for individuals with racial and ethnic backgrounds that differ from their own. I want them to understand the value their personal race and ethnic backgrounds have within our community. I'd like them to exercise empathy for all people and to increase their comfort level with discussing difficult topics surrounding the history of race in our country and its present-day impact.